So we're going to talk about ancient China today. We're going to start off with the geography. First thing we're going to talk about is the Hanghe and Yangtze River, which is in the North China Plain. The Hanghe River is also known as the China Sorrow because of the massive amount of damage it does when it overflowed unpredictably, and it killed many people. It wiped out entire villages, destroyed all of their crops and everything when the flooding took place. Next, we have with the geography, the Gobi Desert and the Himalaya Mountains and the Pacific Ocean, which protected the Chinese from outside invasions, but it also kept them very isolated, and China will develop all of their stuff on their own. This is also why they started calling themselves the Middle Kingdom, because they thought everything else revolved around them. Lasting contributions, one of the first things we want to look at is the advanced cities. China was different than most of the other civilizations that we've talked about because they're going to be built with wood instead of brick and stone. You will also see that they have high walls for protection around their major cities. Their cities are planned out a little bit. And if you look at the next couple of slides, you will see how the cities were actually designed, especially on the second slide. Moving on, we're going to look at the social ladder in China. As you can see at the top, you have the emperor. The emperor was a unique figure because the emperor was sometimes considered to be godlike. Then down at the bottom, you see the slaves. But if you look at this social ladder compared to other social ladders, you will see that the peasants are higher than the artisans and the merchants and the soldiers. The main reason is the peasants provided the food. And because they provided food, that made them highly important, especially because, think about it, only 10% of the land was farmable, and they had to feed a huge population. The merchants, they were looked down upon because they thought that they didn't produce anything. They just took what everybody else made and sold it to somebody else. Government. The government was a little bit like Egypt. You're going to see dynasties in China. The big thing here in China is you're going to see what is known as the mandate of heaven. The mandate of heaven is basically the idea that the gods would decide when it was time for a new dynasty to come in. As long as things were going good, the people thought that the mandate of heaven was upon that dynasty. But when things started going bad, let's say there was more unpredictable flooding, natural disasters or something like that, the gods were losing favor with the ruling family, and it was time for them to move on. All right, and this is also what we know as the diagnostic cycle. In that diagnostic cycle, you look at the photograph or the diagram down at the bottom. It talks about a strong dynasty is established, peace and prosperity. The mandate of heaven is upon them. Then over time, things become worse because they become corrupt, they raise taxes, their power gets weaker, then disasters kick in. Folks say they've lost their mandate of heaven, they're going to get overthrown, and then a new dynasty comes into play. Next up, we have some of the complex institutions, and you got to talk about some of the great thinkers in Chinese history. The most famous one, of course, is Confucius. Confucius is a person who really didn't think much of himself. He thought that he was basically a loser. But Confucianism is going to be the most influential ethical system that goes on in China. Confucianism is not a religion. It is a belief system. All right? And the big thing with Confucius is the belief and respect for your elders. And he believed in order in society. He said, if you have order in society, you have order in the family. If you have order in the family, you will have order in society. When you do not have that order, things are going to lead to chaos and things are going to go downhill. All right? You also see Taoism. Taoism is more about nature and having that natural order and how things should go. And the Taoists believe that you should just go how nature goes. Don't try to change nature. Go like the river. Flow like feudalism is going to come about right about the time of the first emperor of China, Shao Hundi. But their idea is this: keep order at all costs. Do not ask questions. Do whatever you were told. Follow the rules. You don't need to be thinking outside the box. You just need to do what you were told and follow the laws. Another thing you see right here, the Chinese did believe in ancestral worship. They believe that your ancestors helped you overcome issues later on in life. If any of y'all have ever seen the movie Mulan, this is a prime example. You think about the little dragon being around talking to Mulan and telling her what to do and saying these are the things that should be done. The Chinese believe that you need to pay proper respect to your ancestors. All right. You also look right here with the writing, like the Egyptians, the Chinese had hieroglyphics. The thing is, they had about 10,000 characteristics that they used. As you can see, there are different things down at the bottom that have changed over time. Let's just be real. It'll be really hard to write down 10,000 characteristics or characters to make everything the way you want it to. Technology, if you look at it, the technology is going to be very unique. The Chinese do a lot of stuff that is very important when it comes to manufacturing. They're going to be one of the first people to cast iron tools, weapons. They standardize coin. That goes back to the first Emperor Shao Hundi. You also have them building the Grand Canal, which is going to connect two of their major rivers, while they can transport crops back and forth. The other big thing with the Chinese civilization, they're going to start producing something known as silk, which is also later on going to cause some trade issues between them and Europe, because the Chinese will not tell anybody how to make silk. It would actually cause you to lose your life if you told somebody who was not Chinese how to make silk. You also, next you see the Great Wall of China. The Great Wall of China was designed to keep the northern invaders out. Some will say it was also designed to keep the people in. The Great Wall of China is also known as the Big Long Graveyard, because the people who worked on the Great Wall of China, when they died, they were basically thrown into the Great Wall. This was also started during the time of the first Emperor of China, Shao Hundi. That is it. Hope you understand a little more about China's history, and we'll talk again later.